All right, Nick, let's talk about the Green Bay Packers. I think we talk a lot this offseason. We talk about the rookies and just all of the new guys on the team. And I think, that is all well and good. But sometimes guys that are, on the up and up, on the upcoming type of players for this team, they're kind of overlooked and not talked about enough. And we're guilty of that. But there's one guy in particular for this Packers team, a guy that's been there but seems like he's on an upswing and can be a very important piece of this Packers team, looking really good, and we're going to cover that today. But before we get into that, I'm Andrew, that's Nick, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, Nick, as I alluded to, one guy been around the block, been with the Packers for a year already, but it's looking like he is finally getting ready to break out, getting ready to fit into this offense perfectly and complement someone very important in particular on this Dolphins offense. We're talking about none other than running back Marshon Lloyd, who looks, by all accounts, that he's getting ready to come in and it could be a big, big compliment to Josh Jacobs. Let's get into this article and we can talk more about the details and the stats on the other side. This first article is from SI.com. It says, obviously, we have a lot of high expectations of him, talking about Marshon Lloyd, because he brings a different blend to our offense just with his speed and quickness. Running back coach Ben Sermon says he's different in a lot of ways from some of the other guys Coach Matt LaFleur said last week. He definitely has some great explosiveness. He can be a very valuable weapon out of the backfield. I think we saw when he was healthy, he spent a majority of his offseason here. He's been at a much better place right now. I'm excited for him, but ultimately, he's got to prove it. With Lloyd barely playing his rookie year, he said he knows the playbook now, like the name on the back of his shirt. Having turned the page from a challenging season, Lloyd said he's super excited about this upcoming season. So, like to hear that running back coach giving some, why is this guy important? He brings a different blend of speed and quickness, explosiveness to this offense. What is LaFleur say? Specifically, this is a guy that can really give us some leverage out of the backfield, change up how people see us when we bring him in. So I think overall, really great stuff for Marshon Lloyd. I think that when you look at this Packers offense, Josh Jacobs definitely going to be the number one running back. But if you're able to pepper in Marshon Lloyd here and there, he brings a lot to the table and he actually complements where Josh Jacobs is not as strong. So let's bring up a chart here just to highlight just exactly how he complements Josh Jacob. And this is comparing Marshon Lloyd. It's only fair to compare college to college. It's kind of hard to compare college to the NFL. So Marshon Lloyd's last year in college, which was 2023, versus Josh Jacobs last year in college, which was in 2018, just showing these guys coming out of school, what were their strengths, what were their weaknesses. So overall, rushing grade, run grade, they're pretty close. Marshon Lloyd a hair above Josh Jacobs, an 86.0 versus an 85.2 there. So again, both very talented running backs coming out of college. One thing I like, we talked about, is elusiveness, explosiveness, quickness. That's where things like missed tackles force come in. And I think that's a really great stat just to show how shifty, how elusive these running backs can be. We see Marshon Lloyd here, 47 missed tackles force versus Josh Jacobs, 33. Now, 33, not a bad number by any mean, but it does not compare to Marshon Lloyd's 47. So much more shifty, much more explosive runner in Marshon Lloyd. Then again, we're talking about explosiveness. Let's look at designed runs that went for 15 plus yards. That means this is not a play that fell apart, maybe kicked it to the outside or something like that. No, this is how the play was drawn up, and they're able to take it for 15 plus yards. Marshon Lloyd, 18 of those rushes 2023 to Jacobs, only 6 rushes in 2018. So a little more explosiveness again, highlighting that word again, more explosiveness for Marshon Lloyd when you compare him to Josh Jacobs. And then finally, we're talking about out of the backfield. What do these guys do? The best way to show receiving prowess, yards per reception, especially with running backs, because it's kind of, hit or miss on how many passes they actually caught. But when you combine those yards with receptions, that shows an indicative number of what they can actually do. And we see here 17.8 yards per reception for Marshon Lloyd versus Josh Jacobs only got 12.4 yards per reception. Again, not a bad number, just showing how explosive and how dynamic Marshon Lloyd can be out of the backfield if given a pass, swing pass, wheel route, whatever the case is out of the backfield for Marshon Lloyd on a screen. This guy can do some stuff with the ball in his hands. He's a good receiving running back as well. So I think overall, this whole chart is meant to show you that Josh Jacobs, yes, he is a very good running back. I think he does a lot of things really, really well. But adding Marshon Lloyd, now the fact that he's getting healthier, he's getting past the pen size, he's getting past all of the ailments he had last year. He's on the up and up. He's on the right track now. How is he going to complement Josh Jacobs? He's going to be able to catch the ball in the backfield more effectively. He's more of an explosive runner. He's a shiftier runner. And overall, he's a very talented running back as well. So I think this is really, really great news for the Packers. Curious what your thoughts are on this one, Nick. But before we get to you, Packers fans, in the comment section below, let us know. Who's your favorite Packers running back of all time? There's a lot of great names on this list. I think there's a lot of interesting ones as well. But let us know overall, who is your favorite Packers running back of all time? And put it down in the comment section below. But nonetheless, Nick, what are your thoughts on this latest news out of Green Bay?
One of the things we talk about on this channel, and I think this latest story and the data you showed are kind of proof of this, or at least cement this thought, is that a lot of people in the media, when they look at a player, they see him as a static entity. He can never get better or even get worse. It's like a video game, right? Like a Madden game. A player's a 60, he's always a 60. He's a 90, he's always a 90. In reality, these are human beings, of course. They get better and worse, especially with young players that come into systems, change from college to pro, of course, dealt with some injuries. The Packers obviously had a veteran running back in Josh Jacobs. So rookie year doesn't go according to plan. But if people circle back to this time last season, there was a lot of positivity about Lloyd being one of the steals of the draft for any team, and the Packers getting him. People thought that was going to be a big value add. You sort of have that thunder and lightning approach with Jacobs and Lloyd. You had Jacobs, of course, being the thunder and Lloyd being the lightning, the big play threat for the Packers offense in terms of the running game. And if you look at Green Bay, they still need it, right? Well, they finished top 4 in the NFL in corner running grade according to PFF. One thing that's very interesting is that in 15-yard plus breakaway runs, they were tied for 11th. So again, they were a top 5, top number 4 team in the entire National Football League in terms of overall running, but they were actually outside of the top 10 in terms of breakaway runs. So they could have been even better if they had an equal amount, or at least a representative amount of breakaway runs. If you look at the 3 guys with the most breakaway runs in the NFL, it's the teams that, no surprise, had the most success. You look at Derrick Henry, of course. You look at Saquon Barkley leading the charge. And to finish off the list, you're looking at Jahmyr Gibbs for the Detroit Lions, a team that without a numerous amount of injuries, they would have beaten Washington and probably would have gone on to the Super Bowl. I think they're better than Philly. They may have lost to Philly, but again, we're dealing with 3 of the top 4 teams in the National Football League. That breakaway run aspect was sort of the last missing piece in this Green Bay Packers running game, and certainly you can make an argument for the overall offense. There's a lot of focus on the Green Bay Packers lacking that elite number 1 wide receiver, and that's a fair criticism to make. But to be totally honest, if you look at the championship teams, the Kansas City Chiefs won multiple Super Bowls. They won back-to-back titles with nothing resembling an elite number 1 wide receiver. Tom Brady did it, of course, a number of times. You can even make an argument, although A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are really good receivers, no one looks at A.J. Brown and says he's a top 5, top 6 receiver in football, right? He doesn't even crack the list. Devontae Smith, good player. I'm a big fan of Smith, but he's not even a top 15, top 20 guy. So you can even make an argument Philadelphia won a Super Bowl without having an elite number 1 receiver. They did it because they could run the ball well consistently, getting those 5, 6, 7, 8-yard carries mixed in with the breakaway runs. It was that Saquon Barkley breakaway that sealed the deal. 2 of them actually in the postseason in key moments. And I think they actually had more of them, but the game was already over against Washington. But I think they had like 4 or 5 by the time it was all said and done in the NFC Championship game. So those breakaway runs paired with those power 4, 5, 6-yard runs are what's winning titles in today's NFL. It's a little bit of throwback to what we're supposed to believe, but it's the truth. And that's why Lloyd, his breakout or his emergence as a big-time player, the player that we thought he could be coming out of school last year for Green Bay, I think is a chance to be a huge get for Green Bay. And this is one of those things people, like you kind of mentioned, and I kind of hit on a second ago as well, people forget. We fall in love with the rookies and the new additions, and I'm as guilty as that as anyone. But if you can have guys that are already on the roster, they know the system, they know the players, they know the coaching staff, if they can be healthy and emerge as big-time players, watch out, because they're not going to hit that rookie wall the way rookies right. They're not going to run into issues in a new city the way rookies might. Marshon Lloyd has a chance to be a significant key contributor to a Packers offense, filling a critical area of need, generating big plays for this running game. And if he can do that, and all these reports indicate he has a strong chance to do that, this Green Bay offense has everything they need to be a Super Bowl offense, right? I know there's, again, people want to see that number one receiver. Golden's doing great things. We're very high on Matthew Golden as well. But I think overall, if you add in a big play element to this running game, there's no reason they think they can't win a title. They've got some pieces on defense. There's still some question marks to resolve. But I think Lloyd emerging as a star big play threat, it doesn't have to be a 2,000-yard rusher, but just a guy to generate big plays, will help this Green Bay offense take the leap from winning one playoff game or being one and done like they were last year to making deep playoff runs and returning to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Nick, and I think that's the key here. I think you touched on something important. Everyone wants to see the rookies. Everyone wants to see Matthew Golden, his quickness, his explosiveness, what he brings to the table. I think it's important. I think it's going to be very good. Like you said, we're very high on Golden, and don't get the wrong way when I say this, but Matthew Golden, I don't think he is as set up in the first couple weeks of the season to be as impactful as a guy like Marshon Lloyd, because at the end of that article, like they said, this is a guy that's been around. He already knows the playbook, like the name on the back of his jersey. He knows the playbook very, very well. He's familiar. You can plug him in. He knows exactly what to do. There's no learning curve. It was just a health curve, a skill curve. He's gotten that out of the way. He's able to come in, and just how great is it to have, if you had a rookie that played in the exact same offense, someone that was very impactful out of college, but played, somehow the exact same office in college, exact same terminology, everything was the same, able to come in and help this team immediately. Doesn't happen because it's not feasible. Now, that's basically what you're getting with Marshon Lloyd. This is a guy who really didn't play all that much last year, like one game at all did he get any play time whatsoever. A lot of injuries, a lot of things he was working through, but now you have a guy who's super talented. Like we said, at the time, a steal in the draft. Now this guy's coming onto the field. He knows the offense. He knows everything, but nobody knows him. This guy's going to come in. He's going to trip some teams up. They're not going to be expecting what he brings to the table. This is a guy I think we're going to see, not come over, take Josh Jacobs for the number one running back position, but he's going to be a very, very valuable asset to this team. I compare him to another team. We talked about guys, explosive runners. We talked about Baltimore Ravens. Derrick Henry, another running back on that team. Justice Hill, very, very good runner, very explosive, great at catching the ball in the backfield. You want a comp for Marshon Lloyd? I think a guy like that is very, very similar to what Marshon Lloyd is going to bring to this Green Bay Packers team. And when you have that, I think this team, like you said, Super Bowl offense already, they are set up to win. Very good, very young team, and I think Marshon Lloyd is going to be a big part of it.